Ready? I got it! 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 Yes! 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 Let's go! Yes! 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 Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, we will be discussing how I bench 315 pounds and run a 452 mile. Now, I did both of these things this year as a 180 pound bodybuilder with about 11% body fat. Alright, so with some background about me, I have been bodybuilding for about 8 years. I've been running for 16 years. I've been cycling for 11 years. And I have been bodybuilding and doing long distance running concurrently for the past 8 years. So when I started bodybuilding, I was 140 pounds, 9.9% body fat. So I put on about 40 pounds of muscle in the past 8 years. As a natural athlete, I'm not on steroids. But when I started bodybuilding, I wanted to get really big, really strong, but I didn't want to stop running or cycling because I love endurance sports. So I figured out a way of how to do both long distance running and getting muscle, getting jacked, and getting strong. And here's how I did it. All right, step one, I always lift weights before running. So I found out very early on that if I do the inverse, if I run and then lift weights, my lift will be greatly affected. Now, it didn't matter how much time I had in between sessions. If I ran before I lifted, my lift would be greatly affected. So let's say I ran 7 miles at 7 a.m. and I lifted weights at 9 a.m. Of course, since there's only like really an hour in between sessions, really 45 minutes between sessions, 45 minutes to recover, you'd be really fatigued. But let's say I did something like 7 miles at 7 a.m. and I did a lift at 7:30 p.m. So you have about 11 hours in between sessions, and let's say I ate 4,000 calories. Even though even though I would have like 11 hours between sessions, and I would have about 4,000 calories to recover, my lift would still be fatigued from running early in the morning. My lift would still suffer from running early in the morning. Okay, so what I found out is quickly, no matter what I was training for, no matter if I was trying to run a marathon in 2 hours 50 minutes, no matter if I was trying to run a mile in under 5 minutes, no matter if I was trying to run a 10K or a 5K in under 17 minutes, lifting always has to be the priority. So where a lot of people go wrong is when they start training for marathons, Ironmans, whatever. Whenever their goals, whenever they have like a lofty running goal they want to accomplish, it's like relatively difficult. They stop lifting as much and start doing more cardio, which makes sense. However, um, if you do that, your strength is going to decrease and your muscle is going to decrease. And that's because you're decreasing volume, intensity, and frequency. All right. So if you're lifting 6 days a week and you want to run a marathon in under 4 hours, under 3 hours, okay, what a lot of people do is they'll start training marathon more and lift less. They can spend more time running. But no, you don't do that. You lift the same amount, but you just increase your cardio volume. So whenever I'm training for right now I want to run a 5K in under 16 minutes. I'm still lifting 6 days a week, okay? So you always have to prioritize lifting. Lifting has to be priority number one in order to maintain muscle, in order to be super strong. And this is how I bench 315 and run a 452 mile. Now, I'm not the only person on the planet who can do this, but not many of us can, and this is how it's done. All right. Now, as far as my routine go, like I said, I always prioritize lifting no matter what. I lift 6 days a week. And my schedule is as follows: Monday, shoulders and traps, heavy. Tuesday, lats and biceps, heavy. Wednesday, chest and triceps, heavy. Thursday, lats and shoulders, high volume. Friday, biceps and triceps, high volume. Um, Saturday, legs. I might run a little more chest, high volume. Now, a lot of you might think my routine is stupid, but it's not. I'm training for a bodybuilding competition, and I've been training for bodybuilding competitions, classic physique, min physique, and so I want to further develop parts of my physique that will make me more competitive to win. That'll put me in contention to win. So for men's physique, I need really wide lats, and I need really thick lats, and I need really broad and thick shoulders. I need big arms. I need bigger legs for classic physique. So this makes sense. A lot of you guys might say my routine's stupid, but it makes sense for my goals. Okay, bodybuilding, men's physique, classic physique. Now running, I always run 6 days a week. I take one day off on Tuesday, and my routine is as follows. I do 4 aerobic runs, and for those of you who don't know, aerobic runs are just runs at which You can run at a pace at which you can have a conversation with someone. These are also known as zone 2 runs. And a zone 2 heart rate is just like a heart rate zone, and it's pretty comfortable. You're still getting endurance and aerobic strength here, but it's pretty much what people would describe as an easy run, or a run that you can, you know, talk to someone at a comfortable pace. It's not like a recovery run, but it's like an aerobic run. It's the purpose is to develop and strengthen your aerobic capacity. All right. I would do one long run. My long runs will be anywhere from like 12 to 20 miles. For a 5K, what I'm training for right now, I really don't need to run anything further than 12 miles, but I will eventually go back into marathon prep when I'm healthy. And so my long runs are so long, so I can, it allows for the transition from 5K prep to marathon prep to be a lot more smoother if I'm doing 20-mile long runs, 15-mile long runs, 18-mile long runs during 5K prep. And I'd have one workout a week. The workout just depends on the stage of my training. So, for example, if I'm doing a 12-week training block, if my foundation's already developed, if I have a race in 12 weeks, I'll do like some threshold work the first 3 to 4 weeks. I'll do, some VO2 max stuff from weeks 5 to 12, and I'll also do some anaerobic stuff. So some threshold work will be like, tempo runs, 2 by 8 minutes, 2 by 10 minutes, building up to, 1 by 20 minutes at like threshold or something like that. VO2 max work would be more track intervals. So 5 by 1,000, 6 by 800, at 5K pace. These are at goal 5K pace. So definitely faster stuff. 1200s. Anaerobic work for speed work, I would do 200s, sometimes fast 400s at like 3K pace. 200s at mile pace or faster. And twice a week, I would always do strides. I would do strides uphill, and I would do strides flat. So for those of you who don't know, strides are they're not sprints, but they're faster runs. They're shorter runs run at faster paces to enhance your speed development, helps with your turnover, and just keeps your fast twitch muscle fibers active. It allows you to kick more efficiently and effectively near the end of a race. There's just tons of benefits to doing strides. But the purpose of them primarily is for speed development without working too hard. So, like I said, I would do strides twice a week. I would do strides flat, so like on the road or track, on Tuesdays, and strides uphill on Saturdays after my long run. So what I would do is I'll do like 5 by 100 meter strides flat, 5 by 100 meter strides uphill. I'd add 50 meters each week until I got to about 250 meters. I'd be running these anywhere from mile to 800-meter pace. And once I hit 250 meters, I'll reduce it back down to 5 by 100 meters. That's my running routine. And step 3, I always eat at maintenance calories or above. Okay, so my maintenance calories, during this time, I was running anywhere from 60 to 70 miles a week during this prep. So my maintenance calories were, I'd say on average about 5,200 calories a day. When I ran, and I even started cycling. So when I started cycling, my maintenance calories were well over 5,000. But I'd say when I just lift and run, my maintenance were about 4,600. Of course, the more I ran, the more higher my maintenance calories are. So yeah, that's one of the mistakes people make. Whenever you exercise so much, like for example, I'm running 70 miles a week, 60, 70 miles a week over the span of 6 days. So 10 miles a day plus like an hour and 15-minute, hour 90-minute lift. My maintenance calories are extremely high. So you can maintain all of your strength and muscle. You just have to eat a ton of food, and a lot of people don't want to do that. Having to eat 5,000 calories. I didn't write this down, but the foods I ate about 1.25 grams of protein per pound of body weight. I weigh 180 pounds, so that means I ate about 225 grams of protein every single day. Lots of chicken breast, fish. For fish, I had tilapia, tuna, flounder, cod, salmon, Greek yogurt, eggs, egg whites, ground beef, ground turkey, beef liver, all that good stuff. That was the protein I ate, and then I just filled the rest of it with carbs pretty much. And I found my maintenance calories by going to Google and searching TDEE calculator, entering in the information they requested of me. But I will say the more exercise you do, the less accurate it will be. So, for example, I exercise more than a professional athlete does, more than most professional athletes do. And so my actual maintenance calories are substantially higher than any number that the TDEE calculator would generate. So like, my maintenance calories were anywhere from 4,600 to 5,200 calories a day. In my prime it was 6,500, but that anyways. So yeah, the point is, the more exercise you do, the less accurate it will be. So that's just something to keep in mind. And so what you do to combat that is you eat at the maintenance calories it gives you. And if you track it for a couple of days, and if you notice you're losing weight, you eat more. If you notice you're gaining weight, you lose less, you eat less. If you notice you're maintaining weight, you're good. All right, step 4, always hydrate before lifting. So hydration is extremely important. And it's easy to not drink enough water. Um, it's super important though. You need to hydrate, and you always want to hydrate before you lift. So for example, I wake up at 4:30. I'm at the gym at 5. Okay, and before I go to the gym, I have anywhere from 40 to 64 ounces of water, and that's because while you sleep, you obviously sweat a lot, and you're getting super dehydrated. That's oftentimes why you wake up dehydrated. So what I literally do is I chug almost half a gallon of water, 40, 60 ounces of water. I do that just so my body can rehydrate. Now, one of the good things about doing this is when you rehydrate after waking up, you don't have to go and use the bathroom and get rid of it all. Okay, so like a lot of people might think you have to pee it. If you chug a lot of water, you'll pee it out because you chug it fast. Well, if you do it when you're in a dehydrated state, your body actually uses the water and uses it for hydration. Okay, but anyway, so hydration is super important. When you're slightly dehydrated, I think studies show that like if you're even slightly dehydrated, your strength can decrease by 10%. Now, 10% might not seem like might not seem like that much of a strength decrease, but when your max bench press is 300 pounds, if you're dehydrated even slightly, your max bench press goes from 300 pounds to 270 pounds. And when you're trying to bench 315 pounds, that's pretty significant. So you always be hydrated. All right. That's all I've got for you guys today. That was how I benched 315 pounds and ran a 452 mile as a 180-pound bodybuilder who is natural. Now, I will say this is also very important. My talent, I am very talented when it comes to running. I ran a 452 mile when I was 15 years old, also on 12 miles a week, not taking running seriously. And I can also do it now as a 180-pound bodybuilder. I also have great bodybuilding genetics. God blessed me with good genetics for bodybuilding and running long distances. So some of you might not be capable. Some of you might not have the genetics to bench 315 or run a 452 mile, but you won't know until you try. So don't discourage yourself. Don't disqualify yourself. Don't count yourself out. You don't know until you try. Just work extremely hard and see what you can do. But that's all I got for you guys today. If y'all are interested to offer coaching, one-on-one coaching, how to become a bodybuilder, how to get jacked, how to become a hybrid, how to bodybuild and concurrently, all that good stuff, links in the bio. And if y'all enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.